as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. It is a live edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios, locations across the state of Florida, and right there in Celebration Point in the heart of Gator Nation. That is International Diamond Center. Today's program will have Brent Beaird, our college football analyst and Heisman Trophy voter, and we'll also have Kevin Winter from WRUF, who does all the pregame shows. We'll just get his thoughts. He's a big NFL guy, get his thoughts on the NFL playoffs, but also Gator basketball, portal, all that good stuff. Let's go straight to the Titan MR hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp, and we are joined by our man, Brent. Good morning, Brent.
Shane, good morning. Good to be with you, and much going on with playoff games tonight, tomorrow, and in the midst of it all, we have the circus of the portal. So it's an interesting time of year, is it not?
That's very true. Before we jump into it, Mike on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, has a question here. He says, when a player enters the portal, do they lose their scholarship then or when they get to the other school? I am pretty confident that when you enter the portal, you are no longer on scholarship. Scholarships are year to year. So it's, basically when you go to the portal, you're saying, I don't want to be at this school anymore. I'm looking around. So they're going to take you off scholarship. All right, Brent, speaking of the portal, the Southeastern Conference, pretty much every school in the league is losing a lot of players, whether that's good or bad. Time will tell, but it's the world we live in today.
Yeah, it is, no doubt. And this was just a couple of days ago, and I'll hit some of the highlights of the teams that had players in the 30s that they had lost. Auburn had 33, Florida 31, Mississippi State 30, and Arkansas had 30. So look, this is just where we are. We've got basically another week of the portal. I think the thing that we've got to decide at some point is, when do we actually really want the portal? When is it not take away from what's going on? I mean, look, I'm like everybody else. I check the internet probably a lot more than I need to during the day, but I think that's kind of where we are at this point. Where are we going to keep it? There's a lot of changes coming. Whether they will be done by this coming season or not remains to be seen. But there are going to be a lot of date changes, a lot of things that are going to be changed. So we don't know what all that is yet, but it's coming.
Brent, out of those numbers you posted or just mentioned, that's just players, because
yes,
I didn't know if it was just scholarship guys, because on Twitter I follow the Gators obviously, and there's
sure.
guys that thank you Gator Nation, I'm entering the portal, and I'm the color analyst. I don't even know who the hell they are. Nothing against those people, but I didn't know if those numbers are part of that or if it was just scholarship players only.
What it says here is total players lost to the transfer portal by SEC teams. So Shane, I think that's just the total players that they've got. And look, what you said, I think is accurate. There are a lot of fans who follow their team very closely, and they will see people who are in the portal, and they're asking, well, who is this guy? And look, this is not being detrimental to the player, but you've got players that they kind of get lost in the numbers. They don't play a lot, and people forget who they are. So, look, you're not the only one going through that right now. That's for sure.
That's right. Speaking of the transfer portal, boy, it usually happens, and it's happening to the Gators because they're getting a lot of Georgia Tech guys. They're going to get a few Tulane guys, but Penn State has taken 19 players from Iowa State.
That's an amazing number, isn't it?
It is.
To say the least. But again, obviously their coach goes, and he left. Matt Campbell is who we're talking about. So being able to take 19. Now, again, to the point you made a minute ago, 19 players doesn't mean all these guys are starters. That they're 19 players from the school. But to your point, Shane, that is a lot of players going from one school to the next.
It really is. And then I guess the two big splash signees at the quarterback position went to Indiana and Texas Tech.
Yeah. Former Cincinnati quarterback Brendan Sorsby was considered the top player, and the portal is committed to Texas Tech. So they will continue their fast-paced play. Unfortunately, their season ended in the playoffs in a shutout to Oregon. And Josh Hoover, the former TCU quarterback, has transferred to Indiana. So Indiana will be in good shape regardless of what goes on. Shane, to me, the most fascinating stat that we came across, and I'm curious your thoughts on this, is Ole Miss, Miami, Oregon, and Indiana all have the size of their stadium, their seating capacity is fascinating to some degree. Ole Miss 68,000, Miami 64,000, Oregon 60,000, and Indiana, the number one team in the nation. People, most of your listeners are pretty astute. They probably realize this, but some may not. 56,000 is the capacity of their stadium. Shane, I don't know what message there is in this, but if anything, that really tells you some of the changes going on in college football, does it not?
Yeah, that's an interesting stat, no doubt about it. Joseph says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, Pierce Summerall and the boys have done what it takes to retain Jaden Woods. If retaining players was calculated in the transfer portal recruiting rankings, we'd be at the top. Future's bright. Just got to get the preparation, the X's and O's down now. Yeah, I love what they've done. And Charles says Trey Wilson's going to LSU. Not a big loss there. There's a million of those guys out there. He's never healthy anyway. I wish him well. He can go put yak on the back of his back plate at LSU because it drove me crazy. It was Bush League. The Pouncey twins, Mike and Marquise, invite you to try the mango martinis at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, handcrafted with their J.F. Hayden liqueurs. Try those flavors or find your favorite shop at jfhaydens.com. All right, Brent, let's get into it. Big game. We got Ole Miss and Miami tonight. Your thoughts? Yeah.
They're looking forward to that one, to say the least. Now look, Miami probably ought to be considered here a lot of the favorite, particularly with Ruben Bain and Akeem Messidor on that stout defensive line. But the reality is and I'm curious your thoughts on this, Trinidad Chambliss is just another animal when it comes to playing quarterback. I mean, in the previous game, he made about, 3 plays in a row, 1 point deep into the game, Shane, that some NFL quarterbacks may not be able to make. So a lot of people are looking at him now. The question is he going to the NFL? Well, they are trying desperately to get him another year. And obviously he comes from a smaller school, so they're wading through the legalese, for lack of a better word, to get him eligible. Now, Keywan Lacey, the running back who's done really well, he is coming back. He's been banged up a little bit, but he still plays hard, whether he is hurt or not. I mean, Shane, pure logic would tell you that with Miami's line of scrimmage that they probably will win this game. But the reality of it is, when you've got a quarterback like Chambliss, that's another story. And another thing is Carson Beck is not putting up great numbers. He just had 138 yards in the previous game. but he has played well. I think this is going to be an incredibly fascinating game. I normally would pick the better defensive team, but Shane, with Chambliss and the way he can play, it's up for grabs as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I like the Rebels. I think Trinidad Chambliss is an elite player, and his escapability, his legs, his accuracy, it's going to give Miami some fits, in my opinion. Nat says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, Ole Miss only has 3 players in the portal. Well, that's for now.
Yeah.
They get extra time.
They do.
The teams so there will be Ole Miss guys leaving, and Ole Miss will bring players in as well, and they'll retain a bunch. But you got to remember the 4 teams that are still playing now. Realistically, their portal window will open up when their season ends. All right, Brent, what do you think about the Indiana-Oregon game?
Look, I like Indiana, although Oregon has played really well. I mean, anybody who can shut out Texas Tech deserves a lot of credit. But there's just something special about this Indiana team. It starts with Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback. But the thing that there's just so much stuff, Shane, that they do well. I mean, offense, defense, special teams, they're among the leaders, and turnover margin, which is huge. But they just don't beat themselves. And what they do is they play really well. It starts slow, and then it kind of builds and builds, but by the fourth quarter they start dominating the game. And I'm not saying Oregon can't win the game with Dante Moore and how well they have played, but right now, in watching Indiana and how well they played, and Indiana is such an amazing story of what they've done. I'm sure your listeners who are pretty astute understand. Indiana is has one of the worst losing records in the history of college football, but what they have done the past 2 years, Shane, frankly, has been amazing.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest stories in all of sports. Brent, let's go around the league. Alabama quarterback's heading to the pros.
He is. If folks have not heard that, Ty Simpson is going to the NFL. Simpson was probably hurt during the season. What I've been told is he hurt his back, and you would understand this as well as anybody. He hurt his back in the South Carolina game, and it never really healed, and won't. And now that the season is over, he'll be okay. But still, he made his mark. He waited his turn. And behind some quarterbacks, and had a big year, to say the least. Bama's brought some guys in. They've lost some too, like everybody else. Hollywood Smothers, what a name that is, the NC State running back, is one of the guys that they have gotten in the portal, and they think he will do a good job. Some other guys have come back. The Michael Carroll, the offensive lineman. They're trying to redo their offensive line. They got way too big during the Saban era, and they're now just trying to come out of that at this point. But I mean, they were overwhelmed by Indiana. There's no hiding behind that. They just didn't play well, and Indiana took advantage of them. So they're like everybody else. They're just kind of trying to restock right now.
Yep, Auburn Tigers. You see this happen a lot, kind of happening at Florida as well. The guy that calls the plays is bringing his quarterback with him.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And there's a lot of excitement. Byron Brown committed to Auburn. He's 6'3", 230, so he's got great size. 4,000 yards, 42 touchdowns for him, and he's bringing some of his folks with him. Auburn has really struggled. They think they have got a good team that is coming back, or they're assembling that. By the way, Ashton Daniels, their quarterback at Auburn, is going to Florida State. Deuce Knight, Auburn quarterback, is going in the portal. Auburn's one of the teams that is losing a lot of players, so there's a lot of comings and goings. They're in the 30s right now as far as players they've lost, but they're getting a lot of players from South Florida, so that's kind of the trade-off.
Yeah, for sure. The Gators, a lot of good news the last few days.
I'm as impressed with Florida as I am anybody. Jaden Bach coming back, I think is absolutely huge. And correct me if I'm wrong on some of this, but I've got Jaden Woods, the edge, who is withdrawing his name. Florida's got a lot, obviously, of Georgia Tech players. Harrison Moore is expected to transfer from Georgia Tech. James Madison, tight end. Lakota Dipre is committed to Florida. Vernell Brown's coming back. Also, so look, that Gator coaching staff has done a marvelous job in the portal.
Yes, indeed. What's going on in Athens with the Dogs?
Yeah, Clemson transfer Khalil Barnes has committed to Georgia. 3 seasons, 139 tackles, Shane. That's not bad, is it? 7 interceptions. So he is doing well. Zachariah Branch, no surprise, is going to the NFL. Had a great year. Merciful heavens, 81 catches, 811 yards, 6 touchdowns. Georgia losing to Ole Miss. Gunnar Stockton, first-year starter. Frazier at running back, the new offensive line and defense. So they had their issues, but give credit to Ole Miss. And look, Georgia was like a lot of teams, and this is one of the things that's eventually going to be fixed. Georgia had a 26-day layoff before they played their first game. So I think that's something the committee is really going to look at and just to decide how long these teams need off. But and look, Kirby Smart took some gambles in the Ole Miss game. They didn't make it, but he really didn't want to go to overtime and trying hard to win the game during regulation. So still tough loss for Georgia, but they'll be back next year.
Yeah, Kentucky got their quarterback. It's been a mess, but they got their quarterback.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Kenny Minchie went from Nebraska to Kentucky, so a lot of interesting things that have gone on. Quashid Scott, a defensive back for Kentucky, has entered the portal. So obviously they've got a new coaching staff, and they will be. But I think at this point they're pretty pleased with where they are.
LSU, Brent, with Lane Kiffin, obviously there's a lot of talk about them getting Sam Leavitt. But what is the latest on this craziness with I think it's Damon Williams from Washington, the quarterback?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been following that, but if you have, can you fill us in on what's going on there?
Yeah, what I saw this morning, he signed a 1-year revenue share agreement with Washington worth about $4 million. And my understanding, and I don't understand all the legalese to it, and I won't get into all that. The agreement, I understand, and this is from Yahoo, is a Big Ten template document used by the league members and built for situations like this. So it's still up in the air at this point. It may be a legal issue that they're going to have to deal with here. It's certainly a strange situation, Shane, to say the least. But I mean, he made a decision, changed his mind, wanted to go another way, and all the legalese hopefully will be worked out with this quickly.
Yeah. Speaking of one of the Ole Miss transfers, went to the portal. Quarterback Austin Simmons is going to Missouri, but this may be a dumb question, Brent. Austin Simmons is still at Ole Miss right now, right?
Well, that's my understanding. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Some of this stuff is getting downright crazy, frankly. Yes.
I mean, think about it. Let's just say Trinidad Chambliss tweaks his ankle or gets a concussion. I think Ole Miss hopes they have this guy to put in the game, and he's not already in Missouri.
Yeah.
But I think he is still on the roster. But that's so strange that he's playing for a team.
It is.
Knowing that he's going somewhere else next year. Just very, very bizarre.
Yeah. Well, the Shane, in many ways, the Ole Miss, the whole situation has been bizarre, hasn't it?
Oh,
but I still I still give the coaches at Ole Miss credit for what they've done. I mean, they've just got their head down. They're plowing ahead, doing their job, and frankly, if Ole Miss wins and they get in the national championship game, to me, it would be one of the a incredible coaching job to get through all that stuff.
Yeah. Speaking of Sam Levitt, I think he's taking a visit to Tennessee as well, correct?
Yeah, that's my understanding. And look, that's going to be an interesting situation too, with what Tennessee is able to do. Now, Joey Aguilar, by the way, has had. I don't know. People may have missed this, but their other one of their other quarterbacks, he had a benign tumor, Shane, that was pushing on his bicep tendon and labrum, causing him some problems. They kept it quiet, but they've handled it, and he had surgery, and he's okay. But yes, to your point, Arizona State transfer quarterback Sam Levitt is said to visit Tennessee. I'm curious your opinion of Levitt. He certainly is one of the most coveted quarterbacks out there right now.
Well, I haven't seen him play a lot, obviously. I think he either got hurt or he went into the portal like in the middle of the year this year for Arizona State. So I don't know much about him. I know that a lot of people like him a lot, but need to see him play a little bit more.
Yes.
A couple of texts here on the Titan of our text line. This says, with the success of Ole Miss with Golding coaching in the playoffs, do you think it takes anything away from Lane and what he did? I'm starting to thank the heavens we got Summerall versus Lane. Look, I think Lane's a great coach, but the circus with Lane, I thought it kind of went away. It seems like he got worse in the last couple of months. But the players love Pete Golding. The Ole Miss fans love Pete Golding. He's got a lot of Mississippi ties, playing his college ball at Delta State. But yeah, I'm glad we got the coach we got. This text said,
go ahead, Shane. I just want to agree with you. Golding is kind of who he is, and he has done a tremendous job keeping that team together.
Yeah. All right. Texas Longhorns. I know a lot of people at the beginning of the year, Brent, were just bashing Arch Manning. But he's going to be probably the first pick of the draft next year, at least top 5. He had a hell of a year. He really played really well. Yeah,
there's no question about that. And deserves a lot of credit, frankly. And for during his season, 3,500 yards, 252 yards per game, 62% completions, 38 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. And really, and look, people forget he started the season, Shane, against Ohio State, one of the better teams in the nation. He really probably wasn't ready for that game, but is it fair to say he improved as much as any quarterback in the nation? I think going from September to November and December.
Yeah, he really did, and he is so freaking athletic. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Just like his granddaddy. What's going on at A&M?
Bryce Anderson, their safety, plans to go into the portal. He had 117 tackles, 6 pass deflections, 2 interceptions. Former Alabama right tackle Wilkin Formby has committed to Texas A&M. He's had 16 career starts and will certainly help them on the line of scrimmage. So A&M is doing rather well themselves in the portal.
And what's going on? Vanderbilt, I haven't heard anything about them in the portal so far, or maybe I just don't follow enough people about Vanderbilt on Twitter. But anything going on with the Commodores?
I mean, it's been very quiet. It's been close to the vest. They're I think assessing what they need to do. They've made some changes. Now they're going to have to replace Garrett Altman, who you may or may not know, their quarterback coach. He's going to Arkansas State. But look, right now, Bandy's is basically as solid as anybody in the league is. So, they struggle in the bowl game to some degree. And still going to be interesting to see how their quarterback situation works out too.
Let's talk ACC before we get you out of here. What's going on in Clemson? They made a OC change.
Yeah, they have Garrett Riley and co-defensive coordinator Mickey Kahn will not come back. Frankly, Clemson struggled, needless to say, with this. Their star, TJ Moore, plans to enter the transfer portal. Cade Klubnik played his final game, set a lot of records, frankly. So he did well. Clemson's a school to watch to kind of see what Dabo does there. And I'm not saying he's going to leave, but they're making a lot of off the field and on the field changes over the next few weeks.
Yeah, what's going on with the semis up in Tallahassee?
We mentioned, if people tuned in late, we mentioned Ashton Daniels, the Auburn quarterback, is transferring to Florida State. Landon Thomas, the tight end, they thought he was originally going to the portal, is coming back, which is probably good. Brock Glenn, the quarterback, is expected to transfer. Elijah Moore, the wide receiver, is entering the portal. Also, James Williams, edge rusher, is entering the portal. So to say the least, that there's a lot of portal stuff with FSU, and we'll see where that goes. Also, with the possibility of a former Gator quarterback, Shane, could that happen? Maybe.
I have no idea. I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about what the semis have up their sleeve or what they do.
I understand that very much.
Brent, great stuff as always. Enjoy the games this weekend, and we will talk to you next week, my man.
Yeah, well, we'll look forward to it, bud. Take care. Thanks.
That is Brent Beaird, our college football analyst and Heisman Trophy voter. Join us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. A quick timeout. We'll come back. We'll be joined by Kevin Winter from WRUF. Talk a little bit of everything with him. You're watching and listening PodUp with Matthews in the Morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Atlantic Roofing, Campus USA Credit Union, International Diamond Center, J.F. Hayden's Craft Liqueurs, Los Linderos Tequila, Meldon Law, Titan MRI and Imaging, Castaway Sauce, UF Health Orthopedics. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sports, Comfort Temp, Florida Cracker Oyster, Electronics World, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, McDonald's of Gainesville, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Advocare, MG&A Wealth. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. And to advertise, call my man Freddie, 352-284-3733.
Naysayers. Setbacks. Injuries. Life throws a lot of hurdles your way. The key is just keep jumping them.
The jewelry store with the most likes, the most positive reviews, the most raving fans is International Diamond Center.
IDC is definitely a place that I will come to as long as I live here. This will be my go-to place always.
Literally the best jewelry store in town. You'll make friends for life coming in here. I felt like family from the beginning. The value was extraordinary.
I've got a beautiful diamond on my finger, and I'm very proud of it.
International Diamond Center.
I'm very happy to show it off.
At Celebration Point and online at shopidc.com.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. Ruse Ogre State Farm offers a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visitogreinsurance.com. Give them a call, 352-240-1779. Back to the Titan MR hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. We're joined by Kevin Winter from WRUF, who kind of holds everybody together. He's also part of the Gator pregame show, halftime show. He's doing pregame for basketball now, part of the Gator Radio Network. Kevin, good morning. Appreciate you joining the program, man.
Morning, Shane. It's good talking to you again.
Yep. All right, let's just jump into Gator football real quick. The last couple of days through the portal, outstanding work by Coach Summerall and his staff. What are your thoughts?
So if you come in with the plan, Shane, of you've got to kind of rebuild this thing from scratch, maybe that's a little harsh, but the reality was this team was 4-8, and I know a lot of fans and even me, I kind of fell into the trap a little bit. You want to see some of these players hang around. Again, they were 4-8. You got to do better. But when the whole transfer portal and when the football season started going south and the idea of, look, the changes are going to be made even after Billy was fired, I put it in my head, there's 4 guys that I don't think you could afford to lose. I thought they were building blocks. 2 of them, I didn't think you were concerned about losing because I viewed them as legacy players. And I only realized that in 6 months being here. You guys probably know that more. That's Miles Graham and VB and Vernell Brown III, right? So you retain those 2, and then you go to your skill position guys and you say, all right, who are the 2 that we want? Well, Dallas has got all the potential in the world, and he's so young. You just love what he brings to the table. Try to keep him. And after, Shane, what we saw on that Saturday night against Florida State, good God, you wanted to keep Jaden Baugh. That was the tougher one, but they did. And then I was talking with someone the other day, it was with Sean Kelly before the basketball game. He said the 5th on that list is Jaden Woods. That's still to be determined, but it looks like it's leaning well. So if that's the case, Shane, you've got a young building block core you've got your foundation. Now you got to go get your pieces. And there's a reason Brad White recruited Cam Dooley. As I'm looking at the list, they go out and they get Cam Dooley. It appears to me, Shane, they hit their targets that they wanted. Phil Troutwine brings in 2 offensive linemen from Penn State. Shore up that side of the ball. You got the kid from Jacksonville State who apparently you paid a pretty penny for, right? Apparently this kid Emmanuel. Yeah. Right? But so here's what I'm encouraged by, Shane. If you had targets, you actually got your targets. Now it's a question of, do they pan out?
Yeah, no question. But you're right. We kept the guys that you needed to keep, and then you bring in these other pieces. And I like what they've done. So time will tell. Yep. All right, let's talk about the games tonight and tomorrow. Ole Miss, Miami. Give me your thoughts, Kevin.
It appears to me, Ole Miss, Shane, the players are playing with the bleep you lane mentality, right? And look, you've been in locker rooms. I haven't been at this level. There's something to be said for screw that guy. And I feel like they're playing with that. And Trinidad Chambers, you saw him up close and personal. You saw Kawan Lacey. I like what they're doing. I watched Shane against Ohio State, a Miami Hurricane defense that reminded me of the U from back in the 80s. I don't know, and I would love to get your thoughts as well. That defense played like psychopaths. And that's kind of the old school Miami Hurricane defense. I think this is a fascinating matchup tonight.
Yeah, I do too, and I'm with you with Bain and Messador, the two defensive linemen. They cause problems. However, I think Trinidad Chambliss' athletic ability, his ability to throw on the run and make plays, going to kind of offset that. I think Ole Miss has great skill players. I'm not sure how great Miami's secondary is, but it should be a fun game. If Ole Miss can somehow make Miami drive the football, because their offensive line is outstanding.
Yeah.
I still go back. I watched Ole Miss in person. I didn't think their defense was great, but Ole Miss finds ways to make plays defensively. It's a fascinating game. I'm going my heart. I'm going with the Rebels tonight. Hopefully it works out. Give me your thoughts on, the Indiana. Kevin, you've been in sports a long time, especially at ESPN. Is Indiana the greatest college sports story of our lifetime?
Of our lifetime? You could possibly say yes, it's in there. Is it the Butler runs to the national championship game, which they lost? Is it the Villanova run when I was 7 in 85 or 8 years old in 85 when they upset Georgetown? But from a story, Shane, of a program that had not had a winning as many winning seasons or 10-win seasons, whatever the number is, before Kurt Signetti got there, I think you can easily make that argument. They have a business-like approach, and they got a quarterback, and you know this from playing in the NFL. Bill Belichick had always said, playing in the NFL, you win more games because the other team loses them. And I watched Dan Lanning play Riverboat Gambler against Texas Tech. Now, it worked, but how many times did Dan Lanning not take the points? And right? There's times it's mind-boggling. So Indiana doesn't make mistakes. Fernando Mendoza doesn't make mistakes. And even when he did in that game at Autzen in Eugene back in early October, when we were on the road, I was watching it in studio, he came back and he fixed it. I love what Indiana's doing. Oregon's got talent. I think the easy part is the winner of that game tomorrow night, I think wins the national championship. And by the way, I'm not sure it's close, even if it is Miami.
I would love to see Ole Miss and Indiana play for the national title. Wouldn't that be something?
Oh, it would look for a storybook of for the landscape of college football, Shane, of anything can happen in this new day and age. I think it's an awesome story because now you're not reliant on a Texas, Ohio State, an Alabama, a Georgia, the schools that we've come to know that kind of run the place, quote unquote, that run college football. Well, you've got Indiana and Ole Miss potentially playing for a national championship. I'm with you on that grand scale. I think it's fast. I think it would be one of the best things for college football. And by the way, it could be a hell of a game because back to the point for Ole Miss, those kids are playing for something of Screw Lane, and I love that.
Mm-hmm. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte and surrounding areas. Check them out at peachlanddental.com. All right, Kim, let's switch gears a little bit. Big weekend of NFL football. I know you're a big NFL guy. Your Patriots are back in the playoffs.
Yeah, man.
Drake May has been freaking outstanding this year. Let's just go game by game. The Panthers somehow win their division, losing record. They're playing, in my opinion, I think the best team in the NFL, the Rams. You got to think the Rams come out with a victory, right?
I would agree with you on they're the best team in the NFL. And I know they don't have the 1 seed because Seattle got it, because Seattle beat both San Francisco and LA. I don't trust Sam Darnold. I'm not sure what the Niners look like with all those injuries. I know they've done well, but how long does the attrition last? The Rams win. If the Rams don't win this, it will win this game on Saturday. So this is the first game up on Saturday. If the Rams don't win this game, it will be one of the biggest blunders in NFL. Even more so than when Seattle lost at home to New Orleans. New Orleans lost on the road at Seattle in a similar situation where you got a division winner with an under 500 record. That was the old Beastquake game back in the day.
Packers Bears.
Packers Bears.
So Packer Bears. What do you like?
Packer Bears. Look, I was never a Caleb Williams fan, but man, that bird of crow is sitting in my oven, and I'm gonna have to start eating this thing sometime soon. If the Packers were fully healthy with Micah, no, this isn't close. I don't know. Can we trust Jordan Love yet, Shane? But I know this. The Bears will benefit by playing at home. I love what Ben Johnson has instilled. Ben Johnson has done one of the two best coaching jobs in the NFL this year between he and what Mike Vrabel has also done as well, in my opinion. There's probably a third in there, but let's just look at those two. I think Ben Johnson's going to have this team. I'll take the Bears in this one. If you want to go pick them, give me the Bears.
All right. And then a big one Sunday. The Jags are hosting Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills.
Two quarterbacks, Shane, who absolutely have to win this game, with one team that absolutely has to win this game. If you ask me the team that has the most pressure this weekend to win, it is the Buffalo Bills. This is real simple for Josh Allen and Sean McDermott up in Buffalo, the head coach. There's no Patrick Mahomes. There's no Lamar Jackson. The path is open for them to do it this year. I take Buffalo, but I don't do so with an ounce of confidence.
Yeah, some reason it's hard to go against Josh Allen.
It is.
The Eagles are hosting the 49ers. Look, I think Kyle Shanahan is outstanding, great play caller. I don't even know who calls the plays for the Eagles now, but I just feel like they've been so hit or miss offensively with all the skill they have on that side of the ball. I just don't feel like they've played up to their potential. Your thoughts on this game?
I am with you 100%. You've got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, you've got Saquon Barkley, and you've got Jalen Hurts. A kid who's won a quarterback, a kid who's won a Super Bowl, and a kid who's lost a Super Bowl. If you're Philly and Saquon Barkley doesn't get 30 touches, like 25 touches in this game, then Nick Sirianni's an idiot. I don't. The Niners, to the Kyle Shanahan point, Kyle Shanahan can try to scheme something up, but if you go talent, Philly should win this game, and it should be over the 4.5 number that I'm looking at right now. I'll take Philly, but it would not shock me if San Francisco could pull the upset, because if any team can, it would be Philadelphia. That would be San Francisco, excuse me.
Yeah, Franklin on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, why is Buffalo a 1-point favorite? It's all because of Josh Allen, right?
Oh, I mean, so if you think about it, to Franklin, home teams are favored by 3 automatically, and that tells you that if that's the case, they're an even team. Even teams, according to Las Vegas, so the home team would be favored by 3. So in this case, they're really telling you Buffalo's like 4.5 points better than Jacksonville. And Shane, it's because they have Josh Allen. And on the other side, it's because Trevor Lawrence. Do you believe in him? See, I think that's the story of a lot of these playoffs right now, because there's no Mahomes and no Lamar Jackson. Do you actually believe in the quarterback? Because if the quarterback has one hiccup on a bad Sunday or Saturday in the playoffs, or even a Monday, it's over. So that's why, Franklin.
Yep. Your Patriots are hosting the LA Chargers. Now, before you get into this game, Andy had a question on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. Do you think Drake May wins MVP and Vrabel wins Coach of the Year?
Vrabel wins Coach of the Year. I think Drake May should be the MVP. I am concerned that we turn MVP awards, Shane, into which guy has played the longest that has yet to win one at times. I mean, and it's not a knock on Stafford, but if that's your argument, if the two are even or kind of even, and you say, well, Stafford hasn't won it and Drake's got plenty of time. Shane, didn't they say Dan Marino would go back to many Super Bowls after he played in '84 and never did? Yeah, so
right.
It's one of those situations. Give me bias. Yes, Drake should be the MVP, but it would not shock me if Matthew Stafford does. And let's face it, they're both deserving, even though I think common opponents, Drake's 6-0 against them, and Stafford went 4-2 against common opponents.
Interesting, but you like the Patriots in this game, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know who I'm taking. I'm concerned New England's 3 losses this year, Shane, were all at home, though. They were all at home. And one of them, they blew the 21-point lead to Buffalo. They're a better road team. And young teams sometimes are better road teams. So I'm a little nervous. I want to get past this one. I just need Justin Herbert to play like a Justin Herbert game like he did in, what was it? Was it in Jacksonville when they gacked away a massive lead in the playoffs a couple of years ago?
That's right. I remember that. Yep. And then Monday night,
Texans,
the Houston Texans against the Steelers. Texans defense is so good.
Yes.
I just don't think Pittsburgh's very good at all.
I don't. I understand the story of Aaron Rodgers is great. Look, Pittsburgh's not in this game if Baltimore's kicker doesn't miss the 40-something yarder the other night. This is real simple. Now, teams can make a run off of that. You're given an opportunity. You've made the tournament. I love Houston's defense. They're going to give Aaron Rodgers fits. CJ Stroud, don't make a mistake. This is real simple. CJ, you do not have to win this game. You just can't lose it for us if I'm Houston.
Yeah, very true. Atlantic Roofing, your roofing experts for residential commercial roofing with more than 50 years of local experience. A few more minutes here with Kevin Winter from WRUF. All right, let's go to Gator Hoops. You do the pregame, halftime shows, and all that good stuff. Big win the other night against Georgia. I was concerned coming in because of the way Georgia can score. Their big man going out early, getting kicked out helped. But we got a big one coming with the Vols on Saturday. Is this team in your mind getting better?
They are. Their shooting just isn't getting better, Shane. And that's the hard part. Look, the depth of this team will be their lack of consistent outside shooting. And you cannot survive many halves in SEC play or anywhere for that matter going forward where your 2 guards, Boogie Fland and Xavier Lee, go scoreless in a half. Think about it. We had 41 points at the break the other night, and 26 of them came from Houck and Condon. Tommy Houck is playing out of his mind. He's also played the most minutes in the SEC right now. He's over 500 minutes played so far in the season. Like they're putting a lot on his shoulders, which is fine. And if you want to be that guy, you're going to have to learn to deal with that. I loved what happened in the second half coming out of the locker room. Boogie Fland attacks the lane. If the outside shot isn't working, for God's sakes, get downhill and get to the cup. Good things happen in the paint. You're either going to score, get fouled, or fine, you're going to miss. It's like the opposite of throwing a football. Put the ball in the air, 3 things can happen, and 2 of them are bad. So I like their aggressiveness. I think, Shane, something I've learned quickly, and Sean Kelly taught me this, a Todd Golden trait is his teams come out of the locker room with a different mentality. And they did that the other night. Your point about Georgia high scoring, they were averaging just under 100 points a game coming in. And Florida held them not only to 77 for the game, but 37 in the second half. That's incredible. And Xavier Lee's defense on Georgia's top scorer was incredible the other night, and I really liked it. And Xavier Lee's taken a ration of you-know-what this year from this fan base because today's day and age, if I pay you, I want you to perform. Xavier Lee, his defense the other night was incredible. Real quick as well, back to Lee. Shane, for the first time the other night, the Gators had what I call, you can't call it a kill shot. They had to stretch the lead shot. So the Gators were up 12 at 66-54. Xavier Lee hits a 3-pointer off of an offensive rebound at the top of the key. That stretched the lead to 15. For the first time in a close game against good competition, the Gators were able to take a nice lead and make it comfortable. That was a massive shot, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a good point. How do you see the game Saturday? You know, Rick Barnes, they're always a defensive-minded Tennessee team, right, with great length and great athletes. They're not going to come in here and play 2-3 zone and pack it in and make you knock down shots. The guards knock down shots. Now they might, but they're going to try to take away our 2 best players in Condon and Tommy Houck and make the guards beat you, right?
I would agree. I would agree with that. A key for us, we are really good as a team when our defense turns to offense. If we don't allow them to score, and I know that's the simplistic way of saying it, but if you get stops in the defensive end, something we did the other night against Georgia was we beat Georgia in their own game at the fast break game. We had 35 fast break points. I think Georgia had 10. We outscored Georgia 23-6 in the fast break game of the second half, Shane. Do that. That similar philosophy's got to exist against Tennessee. Get stops, get out and run. Don't let these defenses set up their defense and pack it in on you. If we can do that, win the transition battle, dominate the glass again. And I'll tell you what, if you were watching the other night, Shane, Ruben Chinyelu has got one of the best sweet baby soft hooks over that left shoulder when he goes up at the right hand. Like a big guy having soft low post moves like that, it's not something you see in today's day and age. Everyone just tries to want to force it to the cup. Chinyalu's got a low post game. That if Tennessee tries to take away Houck Condon, that's something I think we could work with because we do have three of the better bigs in the league.
Yep. All right, before we get you out of here, let everybody know how they can listen to your show on WRUF each day.
All right, so I am on from 2 to 3. I teach the students sports broadcasting. They go 3 to 4. But Shane, something we started when I joined you back in August, WRUF has 6 hours of local programming. It's hard to do 6 hours when I've got the students involved, but I go from noon until 6 every day. So Steve Russell with Sports Scene, I follow. My students follow for an hour, and then the tailgate with Jeff Cardozo and Zach Albaverdi. We're on 98.1 FM, 103.7 HD2, 8:50 AM. We're on YouTube at WRUF, home of the Gators. We're on Facebook, all the social media platforms. So we've got the multimedia, and you got your regular driving around in your car radio. So we're back up and running for the spring semester. Never thought I'd be talking about semesters, buddy, but that's the new world I live in.
Hey, man, we appreciate your time, Kevin. And real quick, what's your Twitter handle so people can follow you on Twitter?
At Kevin P. as in Patrick Winter. At Kevin P. Winter. Good old Irish middle name.
Awesome. Appreciate your time, my
Thanks,
friend.
Shane.
Have a good day.
Be well.
That's Kevin Winter joining us on the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Tent. I want to thank Kevin and Brent Beaird for joining us today. Have a great day, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
There you go.